Hello students, welcome this morning, a very good morning, and today we will study about the electromagnetic wave spectrum, which is a wide range spectrum, and it is very useful for our board exam as well as our further studies or in all the competitive exams. So there is a wide range of electromagnetic waves. In our previous lecture we have studied that electromagnetic waves comprises of electric field and magnetic field. The electric field, the magnetic field, and the direction of propagation of waves are mutually perpendicular. So here if we look at this diagram, then we can see that our electric field is along x-axis, which is shown with the blue color. Our magnetic field is along y-axis, which we have shown with the green color. And the electromagnetic wave is propagating in the third direction perpendicular to the direction of electric field and magnetic field, that is along the z direction. So these three are mutually perpendicular to each other. That means the electric field is always perpendicular to the magnetic field in the direction of propagation, and the magnetic field is perpendicular to the direction of electric field and direction of propagation. And similarly, the direction of propagation is perpendicular to electric field and magnetic field. So these three are always perpendicular to each other. And this is how we can show the propagation of an electromagnetic waves. And now we come to the electromagnetic wave spectrum. This spectrum has 7 bands. So first of all, we will write down what are these 7 bands of electromagnetic spectrum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And now let us start writing. I'll give you a formula that how you can remember it very easily. So first is the gamma rays. Second is X-rays. Third one is ultraviolet or UV rays. Fourth is the visible rays, which we can see that our light is an electromagnetic wave and it falls in the visible rays range. Then IR or infrared rays, then microwaves, and the last one is radio waves. So with this 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we complete our electromagnetic wave spectrum. So electromagnetic wave spectrum has only these 7 bands: gamma rays, X-rays, UV, visible, IR, microwave and radio waves. Now there is a very short and simple trick to remember the order and the names of all these electromagnetic wave spectrum. Let us see how we can remember very easily. First is the gamma rays. So we can write down G for the gamma rays. Then we have X-rays. So this is X, then ultraviolet is U, visible is V, infrared is I, then microwave is M, and radio wave is R. So you can remember this line very easily if you make a tagline: got XUV, XUV is a car, so got XUV in my range. So just remember this tagline: got XUV in my range. You got a XUV car and that too in your range. It is very good. Congratulations, you got XUV in your range. So got XUV in my range. So G says got. So from got you get G, X is X, U is U, V is V, I is for in. Then my gives you M and range is R. So got XUV in my range. G, you can say gamma, X is X-rays, UV is ultraviolet rays, I is infrared, M is microwave, and R is radio waves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that completes up with your electromagnetic wave spectrum. And you got all these 7 rays. So this is how we can easily remember the electromagnetic wave spectrum, which is hard to remember otherwise. But if you make a tagline from all these initials, you can easily remember that you got XUV in your range. That means got XUV in my range. This is the tagline you have to remember. Got XUV in my range. So now if you've got XUV in your range, then you know what is the electromagnetic wave spectrum. And now we can study the detail of all these rays. First we'll start with gamma rays. So first of all we will start with the wavelength. And for wavelength we use the symbol lambda. So wavelength is always in the increasing order. So if you remember the wavelength, you need not remember anything else. So let us go to the wavelength. Gamma rays start with 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer. So gamma rays are of 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer or less than that. So at 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer or below are the gamma rays. Then X-rays are next step. Next step we take from 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer to 1 nanometer. Now move one step ahead. So we have to start from 1 nanometer to 400 nanometer is the ultraviolet rays. And our visible starts from 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer, that we all know. We are starting from our earlier classes that is the visible range where the light we can see. So it ranges from 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. Then infrared, which we cannot see but it is harmful to us, it is 700 nanometer to 1 millimeter. Its wavelength is large. Now microwaves, which we use in our microwave ovens for cooking, that is 1 mm to 0.1 meter. And the largest are the radio waves, which we use for communication, radio signals. So just remember, the use for communication are the large waves with large wavelength. So these are greater than 0.1 meter. They may be of the range of 1 meter also. So this is how gamma is 10 to the power minus 3, less than 10 to the power minus 3. X-rays are minus 3 to 1 nanometer. Ultraviolet are 1 nanometer to 400 nanometer. Visible is always 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. IR start from 700 goes to 1 mm. Then microwave 1 mm to 0.1 meter. And radio waves are always greater than 0.1 meter. So radio waves are the greatest wavelength waves and gamma rays are the smallest wavelength wave. Now if you do not remember anything else and you remember the wavelength, you can solve all other things for this gamma ray spectrum. So now we know how to remember the electromagnetic wave spectrum and how to know the steps for the wavelength. So now we'll try to remember one more time what is the wavelength. First start from gamma rays. Gamma rays are the smallest. So start from 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer, less than 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer. X-ray, obviously they will start from 10 to the minus 3 to minus 3 nanometer to 1 nanometer. Now you will start from 1 nanometer and next is visible to 1 nanometer to 400 nanometer. Visible is always 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. IR will start from 700 nanometer to 1 mm. Microwave will be 1 mm to 0.1 meter and radio waves will be greater than 0.1 meter. So just open your notebook and start writing. So you will always remember the wavelength because where it ends, the next will start. And then this end, the next will start. So the beginning is the end of the previous one. And that way you can easily remember the wavelength of all these electromagnetic wave spectrum 7 bands. And now we'll study in detail about all these rays. So let us first begin with gamma rays. Gamma rays are produced in nuclear reactions and they are also emitted by radioactive nuclei. And as you can see that their wavelength is low, that means their frequency is very high. So they lie in the upper frequency range because we know the formula C equals to nu lambda. Or nu is equal to C upon lambda because nu is the frequency and lambda is the wavelength. So if the wavelength is small, then the frequency will be high because C is the speed of light, which is always a constant. So that band which is having the smallest wavelength will be having the higher frequency. So we know that gamma has the lowest wavelength, so it will have the highest frequency. So gamma waves lies in the upper frequency range. And the wavelength we know already is in the range of 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer or less. And what is the use of this radiation? We use this high frequency radiation in medicine to destroy cancer cells. So after gamma rays, we have X-rays. So X-rays have the wavelength in the range of 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer to 1 nanometer. And these X-rays are produced by bombarding a metal target by high energy electrons. X-rays have many medical applications, such as it is used in diagnostics and treatment for certain forms of cancers. We all know that for the diagnosis we go for X-rays. So these X-rays is done using the X-rays itself, and that is why we call them as X-ray. So the use of X-rays in the diagnostic and sometimes in the cure also. Next we have is the ultraviolet rays. These are produced by a special lamps or very hot bodies. Because we have seen UV lamps, you might have seen or you may see UV lamps in your laboratory, and these are very hot lamps. So these are produced by hot bodies or very special lamps. And these are absorbed in ozone layer. These are the harmful rays which are absorbed in ozone layer. Because ultraviolet rays we get from hot bodies, that is from our sun also, and these produce harmful effect on our skin, but these are fortunately protected by the ozone layer which is high in the atmosphere. So this ozone layer stops the reaching of UV rays to the surface of the earth. So that is why ozone layer is that much important for us, and these are the harmful UV rays that causes tanning or harmful effect on our skin, and we use certain protection for the ultraviolet rays because UV light in large quantities have harmful effect on the human, causing more melanin, that is the tanning of the skin, and we do not want to get tan, we do not want to get a dark skin. So we use certain protection from the UV rays, and because it is very small wavelength, it lies in the small wavelength, so it is absorbed by ordinary glass. So we cannot get sunburn or tan through glass windows. So they can easily be absorbed by ordinary glass. Because these have a very small wavelength, so they can be focused into a narrow beam. And this narrow beam we use for the applications such as eye surgery. That is a laser beam. We use the ultraviolet rays in the form of a laser beam for the eye surgery. So that is known as a LASIK eye surgery, and it is also used to kill germs in the water and purify the water. So the use of UV rays in LASIK eye surgery and kill germs and purify the water. Next is the visible rays. We all know that our light falls in the visible range region, and that is why we can see through our eyes, because light rays are in the visible rays band of the electromagnetic wave spectrum. So first of all, the important property of visible rays are these rays are detected by human eye, because the wavelength range is 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. So we can easily find out the frequency range also, because if you know the wavelength, you can easily calculate the frequency. You have to just divide the value of C 3 into 10 to the minus 8 meter per second with the wavelength. So if you divide the 3 into 10 to the 8 upon 400 nanometer and 3 into 10 to the minus 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second with the 700 nanometer, you will have the frequency as 4 into 10 to the power 14 to 7 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. So this is the frequency of the light waves, that is the visible rays. And this visible light, when it is emitted or reflected from different objects, it provides the information about the world. That means we can see the world through our eyes only because the visible rays are in our detected range. So different objects, they refract, diffract, all these visible rays, and they get into our eyes and we can see the world. So this is how we can see how we have calculated the frequency here. This is C upon lambda. So we have just put the value of C is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, and the wavelength is in the range of 400 nanometer to 700 nanometers. So just put 400 and nanometers 10 to the power minus 9. So this is plus 2 and minus 9, so this will be minus 7, and so it will go upward, and so it is 10 to the power 15. So we have written 30 into 10 to the power 14 upon 4. So if you solve this 30 upon 4, you will get approximately 7 into 10 to the power 14. So this is 7 into 10 to the power 14 hertz is the frequency we will get for the wavelength of visible range. Similarly, if you calculate it for 700 nanometer, then in place of 400, you just write down 700. So this will be 30 upon 7 into 10 to the power 14, and 30 upon 7 is approximately 4, because 7 4 is 28. So this is 4 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. So we can see easily that the frequency range of visible light is 4 into 10 to the power 14 to 7 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. Similarly, you can calculate frequency of any electromagnetic band spectrum. If you know the wavelength, then simply do C upon lambda. So you will easily have the frequency range also. Now we will go to infrared rays. Infrared rays are also produced by hot bodies and molecules. So these are sometimes also known as heat waves. Always remember, infrared is always heat wave because they are red in color. So these waves lies next to the low frequency of visible light spectrum. And we have UV lamps, and similarly we have IR lamps also. But UV lamps are short wavelength comparatively, and IR lamps are long wavelength. And these infrared lamps are used in physical therapy. This radiation maintains Earth's temperature to a certain value. We can say it warms the Earth's surface, so it maintains the Earth's warmth or average temperature through greenhouse effect. Incoming visible light is absorbed by the Earth's surface, and it is re-radiated as infrared, which is long wavelength in comparison to the visible rays. So it is re-radiated in form of infrared rays. So all the heat that goes away from our Earth's surface, because whatever visible light is coming to the Earth's surface, the Earth re-radiates it in the form of IR rays or heat waves. And this radiation is trapped by greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, water vapor, etc. So that is how, if these IR rays are not absorbed, these has not gone, it will increase our Earth temperature, and that we call as a greenhouse effect. So now we know that the Earth re-radiates the visible light in the form of IR rays or hot waves, and these hot waves are absorbed by the greenhouse gases, and this is very necessary to maintain the Earth's temperature. The next is our microwaves, which we all have seen in our house in the form of microwave ovens. Then what is the wavelength range? It is 1 millimeter to 0.1 meter. So it has a very long wavelength, and there is a small instrument which is known as klystron, and it is produced by klystron, magnetrons and gun diodes. So inside our microwave oven we have one magnetron that produces the microwaves of 1 millimeter to 0.1 meter. So we can say that this radiation is produced by klystrons. This is a machine you will study in your higher classes. What is a klystron? Magnetron, where we use magnets, and gun diodes. Because they have a very high wavelength, that means they have a very short. So these are the short than the radio waves with the frequency in the gigahertz range. So if you use this wavelength and you calculate the frequency, you will get them in the gigahertz range. So the major use of this microwaves is used in the radar systems, which is used in an aircraft for the navigation. And the domestic use of these waves are, we all know, that is in the microwave oven. Now how these microwaves work in our microwave oven, because these are the waves. So these are the waves with certain wavelength and certain frequency. These are the vibrations, because we know waves are the vibrations. So these microwaves are basically the vibrations of certain frequency, and when they reach to our food, then inside the food there is always a water content, and then the frequency of these waves are matched with the frequencies of water. So we will have a resonant frequency. When these two frequency matches, then we have the maximum amplitude, and that we call as a resonant frequency. So the microwave is selected to match resonant frequencies of water, and inside there is a water molecules. So microwaves and the water molecules have the resonant frequency, and the energy from microwave is directly transferred efficiently to the kinetic energy of molecules, and this produces heat, and our food is cooked using a microwave. And the last one is the radio waves, which is having the highest wavelength or the lowest frequency. So radio waves are the most high wavelength waves, because radio waves we use for communication and they travel long distance, so they are a very long wavelength, because if these are a very small wavelength, they will not be able to cover that much distance. So these are very long wavelength which are scattered from the high buildings, trees and all the structures, and they reach to give us the signals. So radio waves are having the highest wavelength and the lowest frequency. Radio waves are produced by accelerated motion of charges in conducting wires. Because these are in the wavelength of below 0.1 meters, so the frequency lies in the 500 kilohertz to 1000 kilohertz. You can calculate it very easily using the simple formula I just told you. Just put the wavelength value and divide this value as C upon lambda, and you will have this different frequency range of the electromagnetic wave bands. So we use the higher frequency up to 54 megahertz, because radio waves are used in radio and television communication systems, and our cellular phones also use radio waves to transmit voice communication at ultra high frequency band. So whenever we talk about this radio wave communication, then there are two types of modulation: amplitude modulation and frequency modulation, which we commonly known as AM and FM. So AM is amplitude modulation and FM is frequency modulation. So amplitude modulation is from 530 kilohertz to 1710 kilohertz, and frequency modulation is from 88 megahertz. This is higher because this is in megahertz. This is from 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz. So now you know better what is AM and what is FM. Whenever you tune to FM, that means you are tuning from 88 megahertz to 100 megahertz. So that is all about the electromagnetic wave spectrum. You can take a screenshot. These are the 7 bands of electromagnetic waves. Next are the wavelength. Now we can remember in our tips, these are in the increasing order of the wavelength. And if you want to similarly calculate a column for the frequency, just do C by lambda. Lambda is given, so C by lambda will give you the frequency band, will give you the frequency column of these different bands, and these are the details of this. So now we know everything about the electromagnetic wave spectrum, and this we have done very easily, which is very important in all your exams, because sometimes you get always just direct away questions like this, is that you have to arrange these electromagnetic waves in the descending order of their wavelength. I am giving you an example of the question you can have. So here there is a question, and what is the question? That you are given with microwaves. This is a previous board question and it comes in the competitive exams also. That you have microwaves, then you have infrared waves, IR waves, then you have UV rays, ultraviolet rays, and then you have gamma rays, and then you have to arrange them in the descending order. Descending means you have to start up from the highest one and then you have to go to the lowest of their wavelength, lambda. So now if we go to the tagline, got XUV in my range, write down got XUV in my range, and this is in the increasing order. So now you can easily see which is in the highest order, microwave. So first you will put the microwave, then you will have the IR, because you are right down in the descending order. So you have to go in the reverse order. If it is in the increasing order or ascending order, it will be like this, but this is in the descending order. So we'll start from the greatest one, microwave, then infrared, then UV, and then gamma. So you have done it in less than half a minute or in 10 to 20 seconds. So this is how you can solve simple questions like these very easily. Now sometimes you also have the question that name the electromagnetic radiation which can be produced using a klystron or magnetron. So that is always a microwave, because you know that inside our microwave oven we have a magnetron. So klystron and magnetron are used for production of microwaves. So these are such direct away questions that if you remember this screen, you can answer them away directly. Similarly, state the reason why microwaves are best suited for long distance transmission of signals. Because for the long distance transmission of signals, we normally use radio waves, but just before the radio waves are the microwaves. So we can call them as short radio waves, because these are having the high wavelength, so we can also use them for communication over the long distance, and that is the reason. So direct away you can answer such direct questions. Then I have a similar question for the ascending also. So this is one more question I like to mention. This is question 1 and say question 2, where you are given with certain one is microwave, then we have radio waves, then X-rays, and then gamma rays. And now we have to arrange them in the ascending order. That means we have to start from the smallest wavelength and go up to the higher. So if you see, microwave is the second highest, radio is the highest, then X-rays and gamma rays. So if we have to write them in the ascending order, then first will be our gamma rays. So we'll start from gamma rays, and after gamma rays we have X-rays, then we have microwaves, and then we have radio waves. So you have solved them in simply 5 seconds. So that is how, if you remember this, you can solve them very easily in the seconds. And there are also few questions like that where you are given with the wavelength range. One more question we will do. Here there is a table is given and there are 4 rows in this. First says from 1 nanometer to 700 nanometer. The next is 400 nanometer to 1 nanometer. And next is 1 nanometer to 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer. And the last one is less than 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer. So these are the 4 things given to us in a tabulated form. And here you have to write down the name of electromagnetic waves. So 1 nanometer to 700 nanometer. So you can see that our visible range stops at 700 nanometers. So it will be next to the visible range. That is IR, 700 nanometer to, it should be millimeter here. So that should be our IR range, that is 700 nanometer to 1 millimeter. So simply you have to write down IR here, that is the infrared rays. Now 400 nanometer to 1 nanometer. So this is our UV. 400 is just before our visible. So just before our visible is UV rays. So here you will write down as UV rays. These are IR rays, these are UV rays. Then 1 nanometer to minus 3. That means it is in the shorter wavelength. So that is our X-rays. And X-rays typically have a wavelength of 1 nanometer. So whenever you see 1 nanometer and below, it should be X-rays. And less than 10 to the power minus 3, that is the shortest wavelength. So this should simply be our gamma rays. And this question is done. So all these direct away questions you can do very easily if you remember this bands, remember this wavelength. Sometimes they ask the use, sometimes they ask how these are produced. So all these are the direct questions, and if you remember this, then you can easily write down. And sometimes we have to solve the numerical value, and these questions are equally easy to solve. So let us do some questions of that type also. So I'm writing one more question here below this. I hope you have taken a screenshot so we can solve this question. So we'll solve it here itself. So this is our question number 4. So here we are given with the electromagnetic wave where we are having an oscillating electric field. And the frequency of this oscillating electric field is given as 3 into 10 to the power 10 hertz. And the amplitude is given as, so we can write down with the amplitude is E naught, that is the maximum amplitude we are considering. So this amplitude is 30 volt per meter. And it is propagating in the positive x direction. So this is our electric field and it is in the plus x direction, positive x direction. We know the frequency, we know the maximum amplitude. Now it is asked that what is the wavelength of the electromagnetic wave? So it is very easy to calculate because we know the frequency, so we can calculate the wavelength. Because electromagnetic waves always propagate with the velocity of light. So the value of velocity V is equal to C is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. And now we need to calculate the frequency. We know the formula that lambda is equal to C upon V. Simply put the value 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second and it is divided with the frequency V or nu, whatever we say. So nu is 3 into 10 to the power 10. So this is 10 to the power minus 2 meter. So this is the wavelength. So if you know the wavelength, we can calculate the frequency, and conversely, if you know the frequency, we can easily calculate the wavelength. So we need to calculate the lambda, and C is always known to us. So we can write down lambda is equal to C upon nu. C is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second and nu is given to us as 3 into 10 to the power 10 hertz. And if we divide them, we get 10 to the power minus 2 meters. So this is the wavelength which is needed. So these direct equations where we have to simply use a formula and put the value and get the answer. So these type of simple questions also comes from the electromagnetic waves unit. And the most important where there are the chances of making a mistake are a question. I'll tell you which type of question you can usually make a mistake and how to avoid these mistakes. Now if we take this same question, electromagnetic waves, where we are having oscillating electric field, frequency is 3 into 10 to the power 10 hertz and the maximum amplitude of electric field is 30 volt per meter and it is propagating in the positive x direction. Now we have to calculate the magnetic field. Electric field is given to us. Now we have to calculate the oscillating magnetic field. So we know there is a very simple formula that electric field is always greater than the magnetic field. So we get the electric field only when we multiply magnetic field with certain thing, and that certain thing is C, the velocity of light. So always remember that electric field is always greater than the magnetic field. So when you multiply magnetic field with the velocity of light, then you will have only electric field. So electric field is already known to us. So using this formula, we can calculate the magnetic field B naught is equal to E naught upon C. That means simply whatever is E naught is given to us, we have to simply divide it with the value of C. So the formula is B naught is equal to E naught upon C. Now E naught is known to us. What is the value of E naught that is given to us? That is 30 volt per meter. It is given to us. And the value of C is always known to us, 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So this is, here you will have 1 and this will become 10 to the power minus 7 because this is the magnetic field, so we can write it down in Tesla. So this is 10 to the power minus 7 Tesla. And if you want to write down the equation, if it is asked in the question to write down the equation, then we know that B is equal to B naught sine omega t minus kx is the equation. So we need to calculate omega. Omega is 2 pi nu. The value of nu is known to us. So this is 2 pi. The value of nu is given to us 3 into 10 to the power 10. So this is 6 pi into 10 to the power 10 radians per second. Because this is omega, that is a angular frequency, and similarly we can calculate the value of k. So omega is calculated, t is the time at which it is propagating, and k is the wave vector. So the formula of k is equal to 2 pi upon lambda. So k is equal to 2 pi upon lambda. Now we know the value of lambda also, we have just calculated. So lambda is 10 to the power minus 2 meter. If we take it upwards, this will become 200 pi. So the value of k is 200 pi. Now we can simply write down this equation. B is equal to the value of B naught we have just calculated, 10 to the minus 7. So B naught is 10 to the power minus 7 Tesla. B naught sine, now omega t, omega is 6 pi into 10 to the power 10 then t, omega t minus k. K is 200 pi. K and x. So this is the equation. Now what is remaining? The direction. So let us say that our electric field is given in the plus x direction. That means I cap. And it is given that the wave is propagating in the y direction. So just simply write down I cap, j cap, k cap. Okay, and you have to move. If you are moving in the clockwise direction, then it is always positive, and if you are moving anti-clockwise, then it is negative. So simply go from I to j will give you k, k to I will give you j, and I to j will give you k. So this is from I to j, so the resultant will be k cap. So our magnetic field will be in the positive z direction, and that will give you the answer, the magnitude of the magnetic field as well as the direction of the magnetic field. And similarly, in any question, if it asks to you that what is the direction of propagation of electromagnetic wave, then you can simply do E cross B. The direction of electric field is given to you and the magnetic field is given to you. Then you can simply do I cross j or j cross k, whatever is given, or k cross I, and the resultant will be the direction of propagation of electromagnetic wave. So that is very easy. If you know the fundamentals, everything is very easy. So this is very simplified in a very short time. So just go through it and answer all your questions correctly. All the best from my side. But do not forget to subscribe my channel. Keep on watching, share it, press the bell icon, subscribe to my channel, and you will get continuous notification for new such lectures. And I'll be covering all 12th class physics along with the numericals and theory strictly to the 12th board, and also covering your NEET and IIT JEE exams. Keep looking, keep sharing, and please do subscribe my channel. I'm looking for your positive response, and comment in the comment box how you're finding the lectures. Are you able to solve them? Are you able to remember? Thank you.